Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Sportsman Gun Centre have sent me these two toolkits here from Wheeler Engineering, and they're to add to my selection of tools and things for my workshop for the guns I'm working on. Now, some tools get used very frequently, other tools get used very rarely, but for any professional rifle builder, rifle maker, or even the semi-professional, someone who wants to put a good toolkit together at home for all their needs, Wheeler Engineering do make an awful lot of different tool sets. So have a look at the link in the description, go to the Sportsman Gun Centre website and you'll see the tools and possibly the sets of tools that will fit your needs. Now, perhaps most common is a decent set of Allen keys. Now, Allen keys generally come in two different sizes, Imperial, metric. Well, Imperial is often known as SAE, which is the Society of Automotive Engineers, and that is again what we generally call Imperial. But this set comes here in a very nicely fitting box. There are clasps at either end to make sure it stays locked shut, and it comes in 3 sets. So you've got a full set of 15 metric Allen keys there, a full set of 15 Imperial Allen keys there, and then a third set of 15 Torx keys as well. So pretty much every size you're ever going to need is in here for your rifle, scope, etc. Now, just to look in a little bit more detail, these are what are known as ball-headed Allen keys, so you can put these into the actual socket in the top of the screw and you can turn it from a slight angle, and it's good for spinning things into place like this before you nip up tighter, or you know, certainly that one, which is a large Allen key, put that end in and you can torque it into position. Those ball ends are extremely useful, and it's important to say that although people might think, you know, you buy something, you get some Allen keys with it, they're often very cheap, low quality Allen keys. They're all right for putting something together once, and anybody who's been in the shooting world for a long time will probably have a small collection or a drawer full of them. Even I certainly have myself. And although they're all right for an emergency backup, they're not workshop quality tools, they're occasional tools only. For some people that might do, but just beware that you can actually damage the screw head with them, and it's often better to use a quality component because you are dealing with a precision system and you do want it to be as accurate as possible. Now, the Torx set you can see go all the way down to T1 or about T35, and the Imperial set, small sizes all the way down here. But I will actually mention this one thing in the metric set, because this one here, which you can hardly even see, well, actually I have a Schmidt & Bender rifle scope and I lost the Allen key that was supplied with it for setting up some of the markers on the turret for elevation. And that Allen key is one of the smallest sizes I have ever known. It's actually 0.7 millimeters. And I couldn't get one anywhere in the UK. I actually had to send it back to Schmidt & Bender, and they sent me one from Germany for setting up and using the scope. That is absolutely tiny, and you can see in relative scale against the common 4, 5, 6 millimeter Allen keys you'll see regularly, it is tiny. But these go all the way up to a 10 millimeter one here, which is, you know, probably a bit bigger than you're ever going to use for a rifle, but it's there in the set because these will equip your workshop as well. The box locks shut, so you're not going to lose anything out of it, and if you're a very good person and you put them all away properly, every time you use them you won't lose any of them. There is a detailed list on the front of exactly what sizes there are, and you can see on the back there's a full menu here which shows you exactly which sizes they are. Of course, the Imperial set are a little bit more complicated than the metric and the Torx set because, you know, well, metric makes sense, doesn't it? Imperial is a little bit less common, but you have got every size you are likely to need there. And of course, for a lot of American US accessories, these are critically important because they're still using them, as well as inch pounds and things like that for torque settings, whereas most European and Far Eastern made products, you do use metric components, Allen keys and Torx. So that's the Allen keys out of the way. Now this one is something that is going to be a little bit more specialist in use for fewer people, but if you do need these things, you really do need them, because the critical thing to look at first is that these bits are hollow ground. Now, a standard screwdriver is tapered, flat screwdriver is tapered, and as you torque that, it tends to lift in the bit, and it shows you here some specific examples of how that damages screws, or as they often used to be called, turn screws. And if you've got an old English shotgun, you need to be absolutely sure to use proper turn screws which are not tapered. So I'll just open this up now, you can have a look and see what's inside. Now these are both highly professional tool sets, so they're not cheap, but you get what you pay for and they're extremely well made. So that's got a piece of foam in the top, stops everything falling out of place, because of course in the longer term you're possibly likely to keep this in the box propped up like that against your workbench, and you've got access to everything. Now in here we've got both the flat turn screws, we've got Allen headed screws, and we've also got some shorter specialist screws and little pin tools, things like these, for taking out special fittings known in the gun industry. I'll show you these in detail and the photographs so you can go through them, and also there's a full specification chart here of everything that is in the box. The box locks shut, so you're not going to lose anything. Remember, put everything away when you're finished. But most importantly, you've got a really nice rubber handled tool driver here, and that will fit in it any of the tools within on the standard 1/4" hex drive, and that's magnetically clicked in place, so you can now accurately turn that, and there's actually a triangular shape on the handle to make sure you've got exceptionally good grip and torque without having to hold on exceptionally tight, but you can drive that intrinsically straight and true, because it's very critical when using some of these older guns you do not damage those turn screws, which are often handmade to fit that gun, and it's very difficult to get just any old spare part. You often have to have one made specifically for them. There are two drivers included, one is slightly longer than the other. They both use exactly the same procedure, but that's if you want to have two tools in simultaneous use, of course, or perhaps you've got a slightly restricted space where the shorter handle is better. There is also an extension here, so you can add that to either of the tools and again put any of the bits in position. And these bits are all extremely well finished, very neatly ground from hardened steel, so you will not have a problem with them slipping or breaking or marking in use. There's quite a nice little pot there, so when you're using a few at a time you can maybe just put the ones you're using in there, and don't have to put them back in exactly every time, but it's well worth putting things away. Some parts are duplicated because especially the very smaller ones, they may over time show some damage to them, but that's like any tool, they don't last forever, and of course the higher quality they are, the more precision they're made. And in terms of the relative cost of the actual fitting you will be using these on, the tools are relatively inexpensive, because not damaging those valuable turn screws is critical. Right, well I hope you've enjoyed that little review of these tools. You can see all the details on the closing pictures, and you can see even more details if you click on the link in the description and go to Sportsman's website, because this will also link to the Wheeler Engineering website, and you can see not only these tools but all the other different tool sets they offer for professional gunsmithing use. Right, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell and keep track of the regular uploads. There'll be lots of gun reviews coming through the summer this year, because we're only in March now and the weather's picking up, so I can get out shooting even more. I'll be using these sets this afternoon because I've got a new rifle to set up with a new scope on it, so it'll be a great excuse to use them. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.